All right. So now let's everybody if you put your attention to you can still hold your talk now button, but put your attention to the video space where you'll see a PowerPoint presentation. Everybody let me know that you can see the PowerPoint presentation or the slide. It says feel the flow of success. Make sure you can are we all on the same page? Great. Why? Ashe, yes. Just boom. I can see it. I'm watching both.
Ashe.
All right. Is there anybody who can't?
Yes.
All right, good. Um, all right, so now what we talked last time, you're going to be in touch with people. You're calling them. This is called the flow of recognition. And who remembers the other name that is also we use it interchangeably? The flow of recognition. That is another name for it for this tool. Who remembers? It's called the river of touches because you're going to be touching people, right? As you talk to them about anything, whether you're learning about whether they had another preparer do it, or whether the CPA did it, or whether they do it themselves. Um, can PP be recorded? Yes, in fact, it can be recorded, and I can even do better than that. If you hang on with me, Africa, yes, I'll record it and put it up. I'm recording it right now. So, all right. So here, last time I just wanted you to listen. The visual here I want you to have. Let's move on through it quickly.
I
Um,
can't see it.
you cannot see it. Are you looking in the video space? Not the Team Speak space, although your audio is there. Are you in the room? And logged into, make sure you just click on your tab in your, is that I can't see it. Was that Wilson Caldwell?
No,
No, I
Ernie
can
Wade.
see.
Ernie
That's not
Wade.
me.
Ernie Wade. Ernie, where you are, I'm looking, is your name in the space? Um, Ernie, did you log into the video conference space? Do you have the link for that? Do you know how to do that? Talk to me, brother.
No,
All
I
right, I
don't
put
know
a
how to
link.
do that.
Look in the TeamSpeak text chat, and you'll see a link that starts with login.meet cheap. Okay, and come on in, and then let us know if that's not working for you. Okay. All right, folks. This recognition, babies cry for it and grown men die for it. Would you agree?
Ashe.
This is how
Yes.
powerful it is. So this is a powerful tool. Some scientists wanted to know once how important this touch was, this recognition. Because when I'm saying touch here, I'm not just talking about physical touch. Whenever you look at someone, whenever you speak to someone, whenever you acknowledge them in any way, holler at them, all of those are you're touching them, even though it may not be a physical touch. And of course, if you're physically touching them, you also recognize that as a touch. And so part of what
User
some
left your
scientists
channel.
wanted to know is how important touch was or recognition was compared to food. That is, if a person is given two groups of people and they are sustained all their life, all the food, warmth, all of that, what difference will it make for one person who is touched, is acknowledged, is recognized, and the other that's ignored? What would you say? What do you think would be the difference in the two people? One, both of them fed, so none of them are hungry, none of them are cold, none of them are uncomfortable physically, but one is recognized positively. What do you think would be the difference? Y'all can press the talk now button,
You're saying one is recognized
and the other is
or
ignored.
touched and another ignored.
Hmm.
Uh, the one that's ignored, he'll go and ignore someone else.
Okay. All right. So that's gonna affect them. All right. Excellent. They'll ignore somebody else. Anybody else? I
the
got Robinson.
social
Go
the
ahead. I'm sorry.
social the social interactions of the one that's ignored, they're not going to be able to function right within a social environment.
Okay. It'll affect how they function in a social environment. Great. Robin Lewis types touch is needed daily. Africa says emotional support. Patrice says the spirit was swiveled up. All of this true. Well, here is what happened. Since some scientists wanted to know that this was back in the, I think about the 40s, when they could still do kind of testing on human beings legally in the United States, and they took some children, two groups of children from an orphanage, and one group of children, babies, they fed and they made sure they were warm and they were clothed. The other group, they talked to, they sung to, they touched, as well as keeping them warm and fed. And they wanted to measure their intellectual development, whether or not the group that was touched would, in fact, develop intellectually and physiologically better. And they could not finish the experiment. Why? What's your guess? Why was the experiment stopped?
Had to be too much negativity.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, great guess. Anybody else? The babies were dying. Patrice hit it on the head. I want y'all to pay attention to this, okay? The babies started dying. But why would they be dying? They were fed, they were warm, all of their biological needs were met. And
They
I
needed
show
the touch.
exactly, and they needed it, so and not getting it, they decided to die. I want y'all to understand the importance of this tool. Okay. Now, you're not teaching this to them. Yes, somebody said something?
Wait, Castle, this remind me of when a baby is in a womb of the mother, how the baby sense the feeling of everything for the mother, how you supposed to relate to that baby while it's in the moon, I mean in the womb. Um,
Absolutely right.
they start it starts right there of touching. And with what you speak and what you eat and how you carrying yourself, what are you saying and how you speaking to the baby and food, all the way through in and out the relationship.
Very good. You're absolutely right. This it starts, it comes with us. Your using this tool is as important. Now, we all use this, but we don't use it consciously. We all use it just in the way that we have been taught. Okay? Um, However we have been taught, however we have been touched, often then reflects how we use this, okay, tool. We want you to do it differently, okay? Now, this is, I hope you see, do you see the slide? It's white and blue. It says the flow of recognition.
User in your channel
Now,
started recording.
there are um, four ways you can recognize someone. Just four. Now there are many different variations, but it's still at the basic level there are four, and you can recognize them in more than one way. But it's going to be one of these four. Um, you can recognize them for things that they do. If you'll remember this from last week, so I say, Robin, Africa, good job, coming together, learning together, surveying together, good job. Okay, I'm recognizing them for what they did. How does this relate to you and your when you're listening to people for their surveys? If in there telling you
User in your channel
something
timed out.
that they did, okay, look for opportunities to recognize them for something that they did or some value that they hold. Okay, look for how to give them a positive doing touch. Okay, everybody see this? I'm operating from the positive column and the doing row. Okay, and so part of this is getting skilled at listening for things that they did that you can positively, sincerely, and authentically recognize them for. Okay. Given that many of you have done surveys, name me one thing you've either told them, or even if you didn't tell them, that somebody told you that you think it's a good thing that they did. One of the people you surveyed.
I just
User entered your
Dale,
channel.
I heard I just. That's it,
User
bro.
disconnected from your channel.
Yeah, I really was very thankful for them taking the time out just to do it. Very appreciative and express that to them for that.
Okay, excellent. That's something they did. They took the time out. They gave you the time. You appreciated them for that. Excellent. Everybody ought to do that. Okay, sincerely, warmly, no mistake about it, regardless of what they tell you. Regardless if they say they do their taxes themselves, they don't want anybody to do their taxes. If they took any time with you, you make sure you appreciate them. That is, you give them a positive doing touch. Now, the question I'm asking is, in anything that they heard, you heard them say, okay, Africa type tax planning. So if there's somebody that did tax planning, there's an opportunity for you to say, excellent. It's really important to do that. And, I'm very glad that you are taking the time to do that. Some people don't, and glad to hear that you do that. Are y'all with me? You hear that as an example.
Ashe.
Are there other examples of things that you've learned
User
that
joined
people
your
did
channel.
that you could appreciate them positively? You could give them a positive doing recognition or positive doing touch about. I got that general piece, Patrice. I'm wanting to think of a specific thing that you could say. Pretend I'm the person. Give me the person's name, okay? And tell me what you either did or you could tell them about or could have told them about something that they did that you thought was a good thing.
User joined your channel.
Y'all, I want you to understand the reason this is important is I'm not one that's big on cliches, okay? It's fine to have them. I'm not really just trying to like give you another saying to say, like be positive or we all need to be positive or positive beat negative. I'm not trying to do that at all. What I'm trying to do is have us develop the skill of how to use this. You already generally know be positive and you know some of the stuff. I want you to begin to be more skilled in knowing how to say the small things. These are small things, these aren't big things. When you're in conversation. So, are you telling me Africa's type? Yes, I encourage them to encourage others to do the same for people in the community. I appreciate their trusting me. That's excellent. What I want you to do this week in your surveys, I want you to make notes on this. I hope you're taking notes in class. Okay, that you are looking for everybody that you interview. In addition to thanking them for giving you the time, you're looking for something that they did or that they are doing that you want to touch them positively for. Does everybody understand that assignment?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
Ashe.
And the more you can find, the better it is. But it has to be genuine. Okay. Now, it doesn't have to be everything. They don't have to have completed everything. They could have done something else that you don't think is smart. You're looking for those things that they did that you can touch positively. Okay. And that means encouraging those. All right. If someone says, I really like my tax preparer to be knowledgeable, okay, and to be honest, is that something you can appreciate somebody about? Give them a positive being touch for having
Yes.
that belief?
Yes.
Absolutely. Say, too many people get in trouble because they don't value that. I love to hear that you value that. And you go right on back to the next question. Okay. All right. So positive doing is a positive being touched for something someone did. Now, there also is negative doing, and does not mean just bad. It just means that you want to negate what they do. All right. Now, in your surveying, you're not going to be using these very much, okay? Because you're not really trying to do that. At the same time, it's important that you know how to use these. These are also important. Okay, you need to get that report in on time. Okay, please don't park your car in front of my driveway. If we make appointment at 10, please be there at 10. So you need to do that. So in this way, it's more like positive is more like do and negative is more like don't do. So it's not the same thing as you always got to be positive. I don't want to hear that. It's, I don't mean it's not true, but tell it to somebody else. That's not what this class. This class is deeper than that. Okay, you're being skilled at how to you use these various kinds of touches, and there are four kinds of touches. There's positive doing touches. There's negative doing touches, and those are important. Both of them are important to use because they shape behavior. You see the blue things there. Both of these shape behavior. When you tell your child, "Don't put that on the stove," that's a negative doing touch. You're not being negative to them. You're extinguishing the behavior. You're trying to negate that behavior. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So it's not bad in the sense of just
Mm-hmm.
be positive or just be negative. We're going deeper if y'all will hang with me on it. All right. So those are two ways that you can touch people. You can touch people positively for what they did or negatively for what they did. Okay. And both of these are important. Now, if you only focus on what someone does wrong, however, then it's too bent in that direction. Okay, and they can make some conclusions. So you want to get skilled at being able to notice what people are doing that you like, that you appreciate, that you think is a good. The only requirement is it has to be absolutely authentic. It cannot be phony. Y'all all know people who say, "Oh, that's so nice," and you want to choke them. Okay. Now, there are other two ways. We've taken care of that first row, the doing row. Now the being row. Positive being. Hmm. What's up, Africa? How you doing tonight, sister? I'm so glad that even though you having some difficulty with your mic that you came back in. Okay, now folks, I've made some comments to Africa. Which ones were positive doing and which ones were positive being?
That she got back in.
Which one was that? Was that positive doing or positive being?
Positive doing.
That's what you do.
Very good. I was recognizing her for something that she did. That encourages her doing that. Okay? And it's sincere on my part. Did you hear a positive being?
Yes.
Yes.
What was that?
You were saying hello to her, being on the channel and being here.
Very good. I'm glad you were just here. You know, so those are positive beings. Okay, and you see some here. Hello, I like your style. I love you. Anything that has to do with the person's essence. Um, some way they are. Their determination, their strength. Their honesty. Okay. Welcome, Jenny. Um, the Jenny, you should be seeing a slide called the flow of recognition. Are you seeing that? Okay, let's move. Now, the blue box tells you that this one stimulates creativity. Okay. Um, as many of these as you can, as many of these positive being touches as you can honestly give, it really is helpful. Now, when you first start talking to someone, even before you open your mouth, how can you give them a positive being touch? Talk to me.
Say that again. We got you.
You're
A
getting ready to
smile.
interview somebody. Very good. The question was, how can you, even before you start talking, and when you're with someone, how can you give them a positive being touch even before you start talking?
Smile.
Yes.
Y-
Is Miss Letter say that? A smile? Yes, I
A
heard that.
Hey,
smile.
wake up.
Okay. Um, great. Africa, you had a question looking in their direction? Yes, particularly when you look in that direction and what kind of expressions on your face, Africa. Now, some of you were there with Linda Clemens at the managers retreat. Um, and one of the things that she was big on is nonverbal communication. You are building rapport. You're using this tool, your awareness of how you're touching people, and now you're talking about how to use it not just verbally. We've said some options for that, but also non-verbally. Um, that is, what I want you to practice is something called the flooding smile. We're talking about a genuine smile where you just take in the person's persona, the person's whatever, and let a big, warm, and responsive smile flood over your face and overflowing into your eyes. Okay? Firm handshake is another way to do that. Your eyes and your smile are going to be powerful. Here, when you say thank you so much for agreeing to complete this survey with me, then smile about it. Smile at them. Find something about them to look at that you're willing to smile about. Okay? This is important. And then as they are talking to you, I want you to listen. Now, let's go back to this flow of recognition chart. If I'm not listening, you ask me a question and I'm not listening, what kind of touch is that to me? You, Philip Haynes, asked me a question. I started answering your question, and I noticed that you weren't really listening to me. How do I take that? Using this chart right here, what kind of touch? How have you touched me?
Negatively.
Negative, negative,
Negative what?
Doing.
negative doing.
All right. I got two negative doings. Dale Prescott says negative
User in your
being.
channel timed out.
Any other guesses? How am I going to take that? Do I take it as a negative doing to me? That's the kind of touch I got, or a negative being to me? We've gotten two different responses. Africa's is going with doing conditional. Come on, folks, y'all just get off the fence. I won't bite. Jenny Mickles. If you agree negative doing, type it in the text chat. Put in NEGD or something, or ND, negative doing. If you think it was negative being, put negative NB. Melissa, that doesn't work. Negative in this class never is going to work by itself. I don't want to hear just negative. Okay? This is the kind of touch. Is it a negative doing or negative being touch? Morgan Moss, are you still with us, brother? Josandra Snyder, are you still with us?
I'm here. I'm trying to type in the text now.
Okay, type it in the text chat. Good. Um, all right. I'm going to take you out of suspense. For those of you who said negative being touch, you're absolutely right. That's why those children started to die because they were ignored, and to ignore says don't be. You remember I said that positive and negative here in this chart really means like do and don't do, if you're talking about the doing row. And the bottom row, being, is be and don't be. Okay? So, Philip, it's actually negative. The touch will be a negative being touch to me. Okay? I don't matter.
User disconnected from your channel.
You ask me a question, I'm taking my time, and you're not listening. So it tells me, the touch to me is that I don't matter. It is a negative doing thing on your part, but that's not how I take it, as a negative being, that I don't matter. Okay? And so the children started dying because they didn't get a sense that they mattered. So if you're building rapport, what happens when you're in a space and people let you know that have you ever, any of you ever visited a church or a group and it just seemed like it didn't matter whether you were there or not? Did you go back?
No.
No. Same here. You're talking about how to use your small things in conversation in order to let people know that you really do care about them. I don't care how short the conversation is. I don't care whether they tell you things that you think are good, or they say, I don't want nobody to do my taxes, or I don't want to pay anybody at all. You know, doing taxes is stressful. Why in the world you go in a business like this? Okay? Whatever conversation you have, it's important that you touch them in ways that help them recognize that you believe that they are important. You can disagree with them. You still can believe they are. Y'all do think that the people that are taking time to answer your surveys, you do think that they're important, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
You do think that they're wonderful people, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, you want to let them know, and sometimes you let them know with words, but sometimes you let them know based on how you are with them, based on how your what look comes through your over your eyes. Okay. Now, if you just somebody just hollered at you and you just
User
had a
joined your
bad day
channel.
or just whatever, switch when you get ready to call them or you get ready to see them. Let yourself see them like they're like it's your grandbaby or your child, your firstborn child that you're looking up. Now, when you look at your firstborn child, to everybody else, your firstborn child is ugly. What does that firstborn child look like to you?
User in your channel started recording.
You know it is
That was beautiful.
ugly. Right, you were beautiful. Right, you're beautiful to your mama, to your daddy. Oh, um, it is important, okay, that with your verbal and nonverbal, that you communicate positive being, positive doing. Negative doings are important, not so much in this situation, but they're important. Now, what I want you to do is thank you, Africa, for letting me know. On that right chart, the one that says drop dead, I wish you were never born. You're stupid. You're ugly. You're criminal. You're black. You're evil. You're nappy headed. You're dog. You're just like your daddy. No good. No count. No how. You're just like your mama. Don't care about nobody but herself. Y'all get this right? You thug. Okay. You criminal. That's just like black people. All of those are negative being messages. Many of them have been heaped upon us by society, and they get heaped upon us every day. You go and you see billboard after billboard after billboard, and all you see is these other people in positive situations, and your people with HIV needles or various other kind of drug needles or stuff like that. Every day, our people are inundated with negative being messages. It is important not only that you are prepared for them to do their taxes, which in fact is a positive being touch, but that your words with them, your time with them, touches them positively. Okay? That you with your eyes, that you with your words. Now, the ones you got to be most careful on is the ones that you have received negatively, because we've all received these negative being messages. Correct?
Correct.
Yes.
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 And it's going to be important. Those are the ones you're most at risk when someone shows up with an attitude or a behavior or a value that is reminiscent of what earns you this negative being slap or touch. You want to make sure that you don't go there with them. I'm talking about don't go there inside, because if you go there inside, what's going to show up on your face?
Those inner
The
feelings.
same.
Same thing. And many people think that you can hide it. All it takes is a little frown, a little eyebrow, a little whatever. Instead, if in fact somebody says something like that, here's an option for you that would normally you would have like, you did what? You might say, tell me how that works. Tell me how, what happened and, how that works. So that redirects you to, again, a follow up question about if somebody did something that, like the person says, I don't like to pay taxes. No way. I do stuff under the table. Okay. How many of you would have a negative reaction to that if someone says, I just do everything under the table and I try not to pay taxes?
Yep, I
I
would.
would.
I think I
Yeah.
Okay. Then if you would, then it's going to show up on your face. So how do
I
you
ask.
tell
Yes,
th-
sir.
how how do you tell a person who's just said that? So just pretend you just asked me and I just said I don't like to pay taxes. If you want me to be true on the real, sister, I do everything on the table, and I don't pay taxes at all.
You know what I ask them?
Hmm.
Do you know affect your retirement, your Social Security? Has anybody ever explained that to you?
Okay, so you asked a question, and now would y'all interpret that her question and everything you say or do fits into one or more of these boxes? She asked a question, do I know how that's going to affect me? How might I take that? How would you take that? Would you take that as a negative being touch, a positive being touch, a negative doing touch, a positive doing touch, or what kind of combination? She simply asked me a question, but the rule is every time you interact with somebody, question, no question, nonverbal or verbal, silence or noise, you are touching them in one or more of these four ways. Okay, I would take it as a positive being and a negative doing. Positive being, depending on her tone, that she cares about me and she cares about my retirement. She could make that more explicit by saying, you know, I really do care that your strategy doesn't, you know, bite you. And has anybody talked to you about your retirement? Oh, you see that, Miss Lella? All I did is I took what was in your heart and brought it out as a positive being touch.
Yes.
Okay. Now that's what would be asked. That's what I think would be behind it. At the same time, making it explicit. Like, you know what? I really care about your retirement. I care about your future because we all gonna get old. And the all right, Josandra, we're not talking about what it was that Lela did as a positive doing. No, we're talking about. Oh, you saying no? We're talking about how the person is likely to take it. That's how you got to get it. Okay, get how did those babies take it? The experimenters were just doing an experiment. They didn't know they were killing children. Of course, my grandmama could have told them that they wouldn't have to spend so much money to get a PhD to tell them what my grandma could have told them. But anyway,
True. True.
that's a cultural difference. All right, give me another example. Thank you, Lela, for that. You got to respond. I just said I don't like it. I mean, I don't. I keep your stuff on the ground. I don't do taxes.
Excuse me, Wakessa.
Yes.
Um, Going back to the person who says they work under the table and don't participate, don't work, don't do taxes.
Mm-hmm.
I had that was one of my surveys this time, and I've come to learn that some people don't care to participate in our retirement system. That not having Social Security or Medicare withheld, that's not a concern of theirs. What I have, the way I have been able to engage people is to find out from them what their reasons are, and see how that's working, see if they have any questions concerning if they have decided not to participate, if they have any concerns about being able to have them, how they are feeling about what to do. Just to let them see, if you want to participate, are good to have their taxes withheld as part of your retirement in case you may need to not participate.
Excellent. Both of those excellent. What you're looking for is, in this case, ways to affirm people, particularly at the positive being level, because I want you to be keen to this. And y'all, it's 9:05. If you're willing to, let's go to 9:30. If you have to, you can break off. This is important. What you're particularly in things that people would say that are different from you, that you would have a negative reaction to, those are the ones it's going to be important for you to get skilled at how to touch
User
them
disconnected from your channel.
positively. Okay, how to make sure that you can touch them positively, because that's when you're most at risk for giving
User
them
disconnected
for
from your
giving them a
channel.
frown like, well. And do you think they'll read that, well, kind of frown?
For real.
For real,
Yes.
they will. So
Yes, they will.
Yes.
so when you hear something that is different and you think may be dangerous or you may not be great, what's going to be important is for you to already think about those and have your thoughts and ideas, or even on the front, on the
User
fly,
left your channel.
look for ways to touch them positively. You don't have to affirm what they did. Now, I want y'all to be clear. I'm not talking about pretend that anything that anybody did is a good thing. But you can still figure out how do you touch them positively. And you've heard two already. One is, I'm really concerned about your retirement. Another is, um, so do you have any concerns about that? Okay. I know you. I hear your strategy. Do you have any concerns about that? Okay. So both of those communicate that the person cares, even though they're hearing something that they would disagree with. Y'all with me on that?
Yes,
Ashe?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Ashe.
Yes, sir.
Um, all right. Now, um, I want you to, on that drop dead, I wish you were never born, you stupid criminal ugly. I want you to make a list of ways that you have been told those things and other negative being touches over your life. You don't have to say them now. That's part of your homework and what I want you to talk about in your teams. What are the ways that you've been told you weren't smart enough, you weren't pretty enough, you're not good enough, you never make it, you can never succeed. Those negative being messages. Now, the rule here is that bottom right quadrant, I want you to if you've taken notes on this, put a big red X there and train yourself never, ever to say anything that's a negative being unless you want the person that you're talking to die.
Wow.
Because when you do, you are negating their being. You're doing the same thing that they did in the little doll experiment. Okay? I mean, doll babies. Excuse me, not doll babies. Okay. Now I want you to be. So this is why this. We're not just talking about positive and negative stuff. Please do not ever say, "Well, I
User
took that
joined your
class and
channel.
we just learned how to be positive and how to be positive all the time and negative be negative." If I hear you say that, I'll be like, "Oh God, I failed. I failed. I failed." That's not what this tool is about. It's deeper than that. It's there are four ways you can touch people. One of these ways you do not want to touch people because it tells them to die. It tells them that they don't matter. Also, this is the area of most healing for you, for all of us, in ways that I've been told. Because when I do something that has a negative consequence, I don't get the report in on time. I don't send it to you on time. I can't meet my meeting deadline. When I do something negative, it often reminds me of that statement that someone made to me, or a look that they gave me, or somehow they communicated to me that
User
I was
left your channel.
that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't smart enough, that I wasn't lovable enough. Now, if you are in business, are you going to make mistakes?
Yes.
Yes.
You are going to
Yes.
do negative things. You're going to forget. You're going to not get the report in. You're going to do some things, okay? Now, if anytime you do something that's negative, it reminds you of this false statement that you are not good enough. The statement that the society makes to you all the time. They made it to your mama, they made it to your daddy, they made it to your grandmama and uncle, and some of that spilled from them to you. It has to be that there's an X there and you block those things. You just reject them. And not only do you reject them, you then reach over into that left bottom quadrant and you tell yourself that I'm God's child. You tell yourself that I'm Magalee's child. That's my mama. You tell yourself that a fear loves me or whoever does. Okay. You affirm. So you're blocking those messages that are negative being messages, and you are working to heal where they were by actually asking for, okay, to be recognized positively for your being. And you can also ask to be recognized positively for your doing. See, as children, we are in this river of touches. And sometimes the water is cold and we kind of scrunch up. And sometimes it's warm and loving and we kind of stretch out. Oh, wonderful. Ah. And then sometimes it gets cold and we stretch up and scrunch up. Okay. And so we just survive as children. But as an adult, you get to shape your own river of touches. You get to ask for what you want. You get to reject what you don't want. You get to touch yourself in certain ways, like, damn, I'm good. Okay. And we won't get into those tonight, but there are five other ways of being skilled: asking for, rejecting. Let's write them down right now for those of you who are typing in the text chat. In terms of managing your river of touches, you can ask for a certain touch. Type ask. Okay, good. You can give a certain touch. So first is ask, give. It is not necessarily in order. You can uh, take in or receive. Okay, that's number three. Take in or receive. Now, what that means is my mother used to like be dressed so fine, and they said, "Ooh, that hat! Well, that hat, you killing that hat? That's so that." She said, "Oh, this old thing, I got this from Blom 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 Blom." Did she take it in that example? Okay, Helen. Good night, Helen. Thank you so much. We're gonna be finishing up at 9:30, and appreciate you. Okay, so that's why t- take in or receive is also important. Someone can give it, that doesn't mean you take it in. So a conscious thing in terms of being skilled is knowing what you need to take in, what you need to ask for, and
User
then
disconnected
take
from your
in. And
channel.
sometimes even when you don't ask for it, but it's given, take it in. All right. Now these are the things I want you to work on yourself and your team. There are two more. We've gotten ask for, we have give, we have receive or take in. The other is reject. Reject. Um, Let me see who I can play with. I want you to reject this, James Giles. James Giles, are you here? Can you hear me? Okay. Jenny Mickles. Jenny, you want to role play with me right quick?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now this is not true. This is a role play. Jenny, I don't know why you come in and talking to me about these taxes. You ain't smart enough to be doing taxes anyway. You're just perpetrating a fraud. You don't know what you're doing. All right, Jenny, your turn.
Oh, that's not so. I've been trained in this profession. I don't know what to say.
Okay, you did good. Start.
Just
Next, just hold on. You did good. Next person. Just take gum right in. Pretend I said it to you.
I don't know it all, but I'm learning.
I don't care
Okay.
what you say. I'm gonna work at it, and I will be successful. I'll show you.
Okay.
Not only that, you can always say that the organization that I've been trained in this, and the fact that the organization I'm with requires me to go through the training every year, so that I
What
can
what
get
Philip?
better.
You really the fact of the matter is, I'm role playing that Philip. Philip, the fact is, bro, I don't care how much training you get. You just ain't good enough.
I would say, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you feel that way, but I do have the education and the support to support um, that what you're saying is wrong.
Okay. Here's the first thing. Carol Potter says, "Thank you for your time." Okay.
She was nice.
No, I got it. I reject what you said. There are a number of ways. The first thing to do is in your own head, tell yourself when that person is saying about you, that you're not good enough, that you don't know enough, make sure you say to yourself, that's not true.
That's
None of
right.
that is true.
I'm God's child.
Okay? I'm God's child. I'm a wonderful person. I'm smart. I'm on a great team, whatever. But you first need to say to yourself, you need to reject that, even if you don't say it out loud to them. And that's okay to say out loud to them. At the same time, it's first because this communication is not just from you to somebody else or from somebody else to you, it's also from you to you, right? These same four touches also are from you to you. Okay? How many of you said to yourself, boy, I'm stupid? Boy, I'm dumb? How many of you said to yourself, you're ugly? Am I by myself here? Okay. How many of you said to yourself, I can't do it? I'm just not
Oh, that's
smart
me a
enough?
lot. I can't do
Okay.
it.
Yes, all of those are negative beings. Okay. All right. And I encourage you to find where you have because you want to, then that's your healing place. Okay. And in other workshops there's a whole bunch of stuff to get to that. But right now, the first thing I want you to be aware of is when you are told that to first, like, it's almost like smile affirming yourself that this person doesn't know me. And you could even say something like that. It's like, you know what? I realize that you don't really know me at all. You may have grown up with me or you may whatever, but you don't really know me. Because if you knew me, then you would know that I can do anything that I want to do. You would know that I'm exceedingly brilliant if you knew me. You'd also know that I care about you and I care about my people. One of the reasons that Compotax got started and I'm in the business is because our community is underserved. A lot of
User
people,
joined your channel.
have these needs, and other people who come in our community and they just get their buckets and wheelbarrows of money and take it out, they don't have the kind of caring and they don't study what our people's needs are. That's why I'm doing this survey because I care about my community and I'm working to be even more competent than I am. All right, I want you to get how you turned it around, okay? And you haven't thrown somebody out, okay? Um, and um, and Lucille, that would be something that if you're gonna say that I can do all things through Jesus Christ, say that to yourself if you want to, okay? To them,
Yes, sir.
touch them. See, it's fine for you to reaffirm who you are, but mostly you're rejecting it. If you actually start to tell yourself, I mean, it's you're saying like this person is just wrong about that. That's what you're telling yourself. And in the way that I did, and there are other ways, I just thought of those. Okay, this is not scripted. Um, it's like you don't know me, and you could even smile. Could y'all do that? Like like you don't really know me. Okay, Melissa, I don't want never give up here because this is not about how hard you're gonna work. Okay, what you're doing here, y'all, is you're looking at how do you reject a negative being touch. Now, um, if for those of you in business, been in business, you'll get this a lot of different ways. You'll get some of it during a survey. Um, and what I want you to know how is for you to reject that measure of you that's a negative being and figure out different ways you're going to do that. And the way that I suggested is I rejected the negative being touched, but I didn't reject the person. Now, see you later, goodbye is a way to do both of them. And if it comes to that and the person won't turn, then yes, please leave, exit, and don't stay there and getting abused. At the same time,
Hey,
many
wake
times
up.
people say that. I haven't forgotten it. Thank you. Many times people say that out of what's been said to them. Um, it's not that they're really wanting to be mean. And if you can reject that negative being touch, it doesn't mean they don't have other touches that they can give you or that you can't touch them positively. You remember how someone says that I forgot who it was. I think it was Maxine, with those babies, the first thing she said is they are going to grow up to touch somebody else negatively. Well, often when people do that, it's because of that's how they've been touched. But look, if you can block, reject that negative being touched and return to them a positive, a sincere, positive being touched. Okay? Did y'all see how I did that? By saying, you don't really know me. If you knew me, here's what you would know about me. I care about you and I care about my community. Bye, y'all. I've just flipped it. Okay? Now, this is skilled. This is not, you can't be positive. You can't be negative. You got to always be positive. Please don't do that. Here we're talking about being skilled at these four ways, and it's actually three because one, you're skilled at never saying, even when somebody gets on your last nerves. Now, y'all don't have to wait till you do surveys to practice this. Practice it with each other. Practice it with your husband. Practice it with your wife. Practice it with your children. Okay? In fact, if you have ever told somebody that you love some version of stupid, crazy, ugly, lazy, da da da, go back and tell them you're sorry. So I didn't mean to say that. You can say I didn't like what you did. I didn't like that you never picked up in your room. Okay.
Ashe.
So you don't have to be goody two shoes and act like you liked it, but focus on the doing and always, but always affirm the person. Find something that you can genuinely say. Now, many of you know that Baba Ray is a master of this. Okay. The key is it has to be something that you genuinely can appreciate about what the person is doing, has done, or about who the person is. Okay? And so I encourage you to practice. There's one more. You typed in ask for, give. What was the third one?
Take in or
Take in.
Receive,
receive.
take
Very
in,
good. Take in and
receive.
receive. And the fourth one?
Reject.
Reject. And the last one is to appreciate yourself, is to touch yourself positively. No negative being touches. No, I'm stupid. I'm crazy. Okay. No, I shouldn't have ever been born. No, I can't. Um, no, whatever version of this that you give yourself, that has to stop. You will not be successful in business if you are burying yourself, telling yourself that you're not good enough. All right. So I want you to have a big X there. Now, appreciating yourself is either both positive being and positive doing. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that if you did it wrong, you're going to pretend you did it right. That's a negative doing. You know what? Man, I didn't do that right. I got to start earlier. Okay. Um, I got to, if we're going to get in on time, I got to start this early. I got to change my schedule. Okay. That's negative doing. That will negate the behavior, the negative behavior. It always is affirming you. Okay. And um, this is how you use this. And those five things I want y'all to practice asking for. I mean, literally this week, both during the surveys and outside the surveys, asking for the kind of recognition you need. Who does that? Who has a problem doing that? Who has a problem asking for? We got 5 more minutes. Asking for some of the recognition that you need or you'd like.
No problem.
Oh, really? So we got a
I think I
strange.
might.
Who is that?
Joe Sandra.
Joe Sandra. I know I do. I really do. I had to work at it. One of the things that makes it likely for all of us is that often we don't let ourselves know what we need. Do you have a person? Do you have like a battery of people in your life that you can call on for them to remind you how wonderful you are and what a great decision you made to go into business? Do you have you
No.
have you consciously put together a team? Then you got to find some. You consciously put together a team because you are managing your own flow of recognition. You're managing your own river of touches. Okay? If you don't have that, then arrange for that. Gotta have it. Don't just have it be if they happen to come in your life. Okay? Find you a team of people. Ask them. Say, you know what? I need some folks who, first of all, do you genuinely think that I'm wonderful and I'm smart and I'm capable and I care about people and I serve people well? Yes, good. Then I want to know if I can call you anytime for you to tell me that. And that's what you want. Okay? You want somebody you can call. Both to tell you that you're wonderful and you're smart, also to tell you this is a positive doing, that your the decision you made was a good one. Um, Lela, I am ecstatic. I think it's wonderful that you've decided to move downtown.
Ashe.
I know it's scary. I know it's expensive, and I know you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. Now, that was a focus on a positive doing. Okay, something that she did that I was singling out. Okay. Now, this is important that you arrange those for yourself. The more you know about what you need, then the easier it is for you to align people and ask for them. Okay. And sometimes it's not something permanent. Sometimes it is, but sometimes you need someone to affirm this decision. Now, I'm going to give you, okay, I got 2 more minutes. So here's the last example. If I say, let me see somebody else I can pick on. Dale Prescott. And let's say I present something to him. Let's say a flyer I'm doing or something. And I say, Dale, I want you to tell me what you think about this. Okay, so y'all got what I asked Dale. Dale, what you think about this? And I present this survey to him, or I present this brochure idea to him, or this business idea about how I'm going to improve my business. And I present it to him, and I said, "What do you think about this? What am I asking for? Am I asking for according to this chart? What is he hearing that I'm asking for? Am I asking for positive doing? Am I asking for negative doing? What am I? And I'm asking for positive being. What am I asking for?
Positive doing.
Positive doing.
Positive doing.
Well, suppose he said, I think it stinks. You see, I didn't ask him. I didn't specify. I just said, tell me what you think about it. I didn't specify. This is the key in terms of asking. Make sure you ask for what you want. Aren't there times when sometimes you do something and you do not want to hear any bad news about it? You want to hear what people like about it, if they like anything, and you'll hear the bad news later on. Well, then you ask for that. You said, so I could say, Dale, I, I want you to tell me what you like about this. And if he starts with, so Dale, start telling me what you don't like about it or how I can improve it.
Hey, wake up.
All right. I'm out of time. So mainly he could say, well, with Kessler, I really think this needs to be improved. And here's what I would say. Dale, I don't want to hear that right now. That is, I don't want to hear about how I can improve it. I'll hear about that another time. Right now, I want to hear about what you like about it, if anything. Now, if you don't like anything, it's okay. And then I'll take it and I'll ask Lela what she likes about it. And then I'll take Carol and ask her, Carol. Because right now, I'm only looking for what kind of touch?
Positive.
Positive doing.
I'm looking for a positive doing or positive being touch. That's all I'm looking for. And particularly what you like about this piece that I did is what I did. I'm looking for a positive doing touch. Now, I'll take a positive being touch anytime, but I'm definitely looking for a positive being touch. And that's what I'm managing my own flow. I'm asking for what I want. So for those of you who think that you already got this hands down in terms of asking, think again. Right now, it's time for us to get out of here. I want you to survey people and I want you to consciously use this river of touches. Be conscious of how you're touching them. Okay? All right. Use your smile, your eyes, your tone. how you attend to them, how you listen to them, how you orient your body to them, how you cut off your cell phone so you're not being interrupted, how you give them your undivided attention is really key. How you touch them. That's what you're talking about as you are doing the survey, as you're telling stories, as you're getting answers to your questions. Um, any appreciations? Let's end with anything that you appreciate. I'm asking for a positive doing or being about yourself or anything in class tonight, anything you appreciate. Um, please say it as a way for us to close out.
I appreciate class and you and your wife for your patience and understanding.
Oh, it's so easy with you, Maxine.
User disconnected from your channel.
Thank you, Wakasa and Afia, for your knowledge. You're very
User
insightful, and I
disconnected from
really
your
admire
channel.
that. Very interesting to listen to. You're very eye catcher, ear catcher, and a heart catcher because your words is what you speak about and say is so meaningful, so powerful. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank y'all. Any more? Oh, Barbara Brown, you're welcome.
And I left out everybody else, but I appreciate everybody else very, very, very much. I like to listen.
All right. And we like to that your presence, you add so much. Thank you, Robin Lewis. Thank you, Fulton. Thank you, Miss Theory. Thank you, Melissa Davis, and everybody. Um, and the I any more before we end with a video tonight. Come on.
I like the learning experience I get from everybody involved in the class.
User disconnected
For
from your
those that
channel.
are doing their surveys by phone, make sure you're looking in the mirror and smiling at yourself. Your people will feel good.
Did y'all hear that?
I say,
Very good, Miss Lella.
All right. What? Um.
what,
It.
Pastor? May I ask you a
User
question?
disconnected from your
I don't
channel.
know
Yes.
why my screen went back to feel the flow. That's all I'm seeing. I can't see the other flow of recognition anymore, and I didn't know how to get back there. And Langston couldn't tell me either.
Well, if you sing the flow of recognition, that's just because that's the actual video that I have on. I mean, not video, that's the presentation. Now you should see feel the flow. Is that right?
Yes, that's what I see. That's what I've been seeing. But at
Okay.
first, I was seeing the other one, then I couldn't see it anymore.
Okay, well, I think you are in twice. Um, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody else, I'm going to handle this and with her. I tell you what I want to do while I'm at, let me just end it right. I want to end with that same inspirational piece. For those of you who didn't see it before, it's worth seeing again. Um, and it's only a few minutes, and then I will uh, work with you, uh, Maxine.
But Casa, can I ask you a question too?
Yes, you can.
You want to work with
Let me
Maxine first?
we're going to watch this video as a way to close out first, and then after that I'll stay. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
User disconnected from your channel.
When troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still